Literally, I'm an alcoholic, and this is the latest big book summer boot camp. We're boot scooting through the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. So what we've done so far, to recap, for anybody who is new and joining us, is we have read Bill's story to give us a little base of knowledge and foundation of what we're doing here, why we're here, what it's all about, and how it came to be. We've gone through step 1. So we have admitted that we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives have become unmanageable. We've learned about the 2 symptoms of alcoholism, one being that malady of the mind, which tells us it's going to be different this time. Maybe I can drink like other people this time. Or we completely friggin' forget about all the embarrassing, horrifying things that we've done and think that, yeah, no, this time it's going to be okay. I'm not going to turn into a drunk trucker in a dress. But yet, inevitably, we do. And then we've got the allergy of the body, which contains that amazing thing called the phenomenon of craving, where once we start drinking, we can't control how much we drink. I go out on a Friday night with all intents of drinking just 1 glass of white wine. And then I don't know what happens. I drink that 1 glass and I get thirstier. My body wants more, and I end up drinking 3 bottles of wine, 20 shots of tequila, and well, we all know the rest of that story. And so, it's that phenomenon that's exclusive to alcoholics, that we can't control how much we drink once we start to drink. We are thirstier. If my girlfriend and I would get a 6-pack of coolers, I will have drank 4 of the coolers of the 3 each. I will have drank my 4 before she finishes her first one. Story of my life. So that is our step 1. If you have both of those symptoms, you can't stop drinking when you want to stop. You say, I'm never, ever, 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 ever going to do it again, and you do it, and you don't know why. Or you had some really great reason or really great plan on how it was going to happen differently, and yet you drank again. You're probably in the right spot. If you've tried to stop drinking and you can't find that you can stop, you're here. We're great. Happy you're here. That's the powerlessness of our disease. So we moved on to step 2. The easiest way I like to describe step 2 is just having a willingness to believe in something. Piggyback off of us. When we say, we believe in something, it's helped us stay sober. 44 days from today, I will be celebrating my 5th year of sobriety. So something has worked for me that I couldn't have worked prior to that. 38 years of my life, I couldn't stop drinking. I didn't admit that I had a problem. Now, as a result of believing in something, I started from nothing. That Oprah Winfrey law of attraction was my starting off point, and it grew into a higher power, which grew into my buddy HP, which grew into God, right? I didn't do any work. I just was willing to believe, and things started to happen. So if you are willing to believe in something and willing to give it a shot, we're glad you're here, which is why we are at step 3. So last time we ended off by reading the step 3 prayer, which can be found in chapter 5, How It Works, which amazingly is actually how it works. We read that step 3 prayer, which is on page 63, after we read the promises, which the step 3 promises basically said that, this power, this higher power, this universal power, this God, whatever you want to call it, once we draw him close, he provides everything we need. And when we believe that, fear tends to go away, life starts to become a little brighter, things start to change. And we found we could face life successfully. And so we got to that step 3 prayer. And it says, God, I offer myself to thee, to build with me and do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always. Now, if we go back to page 59, where it says what step 3 is, it says that step 3 is making a decision. To do what? to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God. For him to offer us protection. It doesn't mean we turn our will over to God, right? That's where I was in the mud, spinning my wheels in the mud. And I was like, turn my will over. I don't turn my will over. I don't know. No. It's just we're asking him for his care and protection over our will, right? It's downloading that God GPS and deciding to do better. It was funny because, every time we do this study, I see stuff on social media in the morning when I'm doing my little morning routine. And this morning I was on an Instagram account and it's called the Wealth account, and I follow it because it gives a lot of stock market advice and crypto trading advice and business advice. But today's theme was from successful businessmen. You don't see a lot of successful businesswomen. Ladies, we got to change that. But these successful businessmen all said, and I believe it included a famous basketball player. I want to say it was Shaquille O'Neal, but I'm really not good with basketball players. And it said, I was always seeking success. But I heard from Jeff Bezos, and Jeff Bezos, I believe, is the Amazon guy. Yep, I'm getting nod heads. And he said, when I started doing things to help others, when I started making my businesses to help others, my success skyrocketed. When I stopped thinking about building my wealth primarily for me, and I started doing things that could help others, my success skyrocketed. Now I think of my own personal business. Both of my businesses offer hope and are targeted to spreading pride in the recovery community. And when I switched from chasing success and chasing wealth to helping others, my success went up as well. So we think of it as the same as here in this step 3, right? And even in that, it says we ask for him. Sorry, I went too far past the page. It says we ask for him to take away our difficulties so that we may bear witness to others. It's another thing where I want to be successful. I'm asking for you to take care of me and protect me. Why? So I can bear witness to others that this works. This is a selfish program. I want you to take away my problems so that I have a good life, but my payment in return is that I'm going to tell other people that this works. I'm going to bear witness to this working for others. So there's a cost involved. And what happens? Well, like it says, he provides all that we needed if we keep him close and perform his work well. So now we're going to wrap up step 3 and hopefully make that decision to put our lives and our will into the care and protection of God. Not turn our will over, not let him drive the bus. We got to drive the bus. But we need him to be the GPS. So anybody stuck on making that decision? Everybody good with making that decision? Anybody need clarification? Anybody got any stories? Hands up. Go ahead, Susan. Oh, you got to unmute, love.
Thank you. I've never heard that about the bus. That just made everything so much clearer to me. I've been really struggling with to give up my will means I'm giving up everything I am, all the strength that I am, and the beauty that I am, and I hate that. But I love that analogy. So thank you, Kim, and thank you for doing this. This is just a wonderful program. I tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this is what God is. God is our care and protection. I have him downloaded. He's my GPS. So if we're going by our GPS and we're making decisions in life, right, because my mind is going to say, oh, blah, blah, blah. But I can go by my heart and my gut. That's the God GPS. If I'm listening to that and I'm going, this feels good. This feels good. Okay, I need to go in this direction. If it's not God's will, right? If it's not the proper way, it won't feel so good. And then I start to feel about it. And that's how I know if I'm on the right track. That's that feeling where in my car it goes, beep, 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 you're going the wrong way. You should have turned left. Well, in the God GPS, it's that feeling I got. This doesn't feel good. It's that guilt. It's that shame. It's that remorse. It's that, oh, this doesn't feel right. But you know what happens? Normally, if we're in our will and we're being selfish, our brain kicks in and we start to reason with it. My dating advice is here, right? Like, this is the only thing where I can use this right now because everything else runs smoothly in my life. So if I'm talking to a guy and something comes up, it's a red flag. My God GPS is like, ooh, no, don't feel right. Something not right there. And then my brain goes, yeah, but maybe it's not that because I really want a guy in my life. So maybe my brain will kick in and tell me something different. No, I got to kick the brain out. I got to follow the God GPS. So I'm driving the bus. God's driving the GPS. Anybody else? No? Well,
yes.
Go ahead, Irene.
Hi. How you doing?
Good.
Thank you. Great. I was looking forward to this meeting. And my name's Irene. I am still an alcoholic. I'm on day 50. And anyway, it's funny because I always thought it was giving up my will to God. And I do think that is accurate in its own way, because if I go with my brain, which can be my will, like you just said, I can actually tell myself it's God's will, and it's easy to do that. It's easy to tell myself it's God's will because I want what I want, and that's the way I go. But there's something about God's not going to make us do anything we don't choose to do. He's not going to force our hands. He's not that kind of God. He's not a forceful God. He's a gentle God. And he says, I'll let you do what you choose to do, but here's the road map to keep you safe, And I like the analogy of being kind of like staying under the umbrella. If it's raining out, like we can step out of that umbrella anytime we want and get wet, or we can stay under the umbrella and stay, dry. And so for me, yeah, I can let God drive the bus, but I got to also be aware of the fact that sometimes I can think he's driving the bus, but I'm really driving the bus. And that's where I think I have to be careful and stay in the program, stay under that umbrella, keep hearing what I need to hear so that I don't trick myself into believing something, that it's God telling me this and I want what I want. And I'm going to tell myself, oh no, that's so easy to do. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you. I like the analogy that comes from the book. So the book says that you can join us on the broad highway. So I like, here in Vancouver, we have a huge highway 1 that goes into the city. And it's got these special markers on the side of the road where if you're like not paying attention or you're texting and driving and you kind of veer, the yellow line is actually bumpy. So when you hit it, your car goes, and you're like, oh, I better get back on the highway, right? Or if you get really far off the highway and you're in the bush, you're like, life gets a bit bumpy, right? But there's always another exit to get back on. And that's how I like to think about God, right? Sometimes I might get a little off course and life might start to get a little bit bumpy, but there's always another exit to get back on the highway, right? And I can get in that center lane where I'm safe, right? Sometimes I get in the HOV lane and I go way too fast, right? But that's okay. It's a broad highway and it's all inclusive and everybody's welcome to get on. And it's like just, when it starts to get a little bit bumpy, we know we got to get back on track. So if your life is super bumpy, you're really far away from God. But if it's smooth sailing, it sounds like you're pretty close to God. Right? So I like to use these analogies because it's really so much easier to feel it and to understand it, right? The closer I am to God, the smoother the road is. The further I'm away, it gets bumpy. And I was like, I spent 38 years of my life 4x4 and I had twigs in my hair and it was a disaster, right? Now it's pretty smooth sailing. Sunroof's down, everything's wonderful. Is it Canadian subtitles? Colleen, Canadian to a U.S. conversion.
Hello? You called me?
I did. Your hands up, love.
Yeah. I'm Colleen, alcoholic. because of the program, I'm really the happiest I've ever been. I have a long way to go with the program. I don't do everything I'm supposed to do. But when we're talking about turn our will over to God, I feel, yes, I can do that. But I have a resentment to God. Why did it take so long? And I just had to put that out there because I'm driving from New York to North Carolina, and at this meeting, I'm getting almost like I want to cry and so that just came up, like, why did it take so long? Because I have been dealing with that a long time. Why did it take so long? I cried for help for a lot of years. So I just had to say it. I don't know. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have like a little bit of an analogy for this, and I hope it makes sense to people. And so there's a real difference between asking for help and seeking help. And the same comes true for God. God is there when we seek him enough. And I liken it to, back on the highway, if you're driving down the highway and you see a car on the side of the road with its four-way flashers on. You guys have four-way flashers in the States, right? They're called the same thing? Yeah? Don't need subtitle on that one. And so, but there's a guy just sitting in the car. Most people will drive on by. But if there's a car on the side of the road with this four-way flashers on, and there's a guy that's gotten out of the car, and he's got the spare tire out of the trunk, and he's got the jack, and he's got his tools, people are more likely to stop to help that guy because they can see he's trying to change his tire. And the same is true here, right? Like, we can sit and we can ask for help and we can pray for God to help us. But sometimes we have to get out of the car and make a little bit of action. So that's why this is an action program. We make the decision to bring God in, then we've got to do some work. And that's what the difference has been in my life. Praying and praying and praying and praying, it never got me anywhere. But praying and doing some action and asking how I can help others actually helped me. So, think of that when you're driving and you see a guy sitting on the side of the road. Because if you see a guy sitting in his car on the side of the road with the flashers on, you think help is already on the way. So sometimes you just keep driving. But if you see him out there with his tire out, you stop to help. We need help in this. But we also need action. Marianne.
Hi, Marianne, alcoholic. My original sponsor way back when, gosh, I loved her. Anyway, she used to just say that, God can move mountains, but we have to bring the shovel.
Hello, girl. How you doing, sister?
Gotta bring the what?
God can help us move mountains, but we have to bring the shovel.
Absolutely. Yeah. Which is a really great segue because hopefully we've all made the decision because now we're moving on to some action. We're going to talk about some strawberries. And I know a lot of you guys love that. For those that haven't been here before, I hope you like it too. So we've made a decision, and this is only a beginning. Though if honestly and humbly made an effect, sometimes a very great one was felt at once. And that comes with the discussion we just had. Hopefully it's cleared up some ideas that you've had or made it clearer for you to understand. So what do we do now? We're at the bottom of page 63. It's going to be exciting. Because guess what? We're at step 4. Everybody's like, oh God, what? Yeah, that snuck up on us, didn't it? Here we go.
All right, see you soon.
Next. So next, like right away, action. Here we go. Action, action, action. Next. So we've made a beginning. We are alcoholics. Step 1. Yes. We're willing to believe in something. Absolutely I am. I see it working in other people. Kimberly's got this weird glow and she's super happy and annoying. I'm going to try it. Maybe it'll happen for me. Step 3, we made a decision. We're going to ask God to take care of us and protect us. Now what do? We got to get out that shovel Marianne was talking about. We got to shovel some shit out of the way. So here we go. So next, right away, we launched out on a course of vigorous action. Did I say 63? Bottom of the page? Okie dokie. The first step of which is a personal house cleaning, which many of us had never attempted. Though our decision was a vital and crucial step, it could have little permanent effect unless at once, look at these words, next, at once, we're going to get this done, boot, scootin', boogieing, right? No waiting. Unless at once followed by a strenuous effort to face and be rid of all the things in ourselves which had been blocking us. So what is this? What are we talking about? All of these resentments, all of these fears, all of this crap we've been harboring, they've been blocking us. But from what? From God. So this is what we're going to do, is we're going to do a little cleanup. Think of it as if I have a beautiful backyard with a gorgeous white picket fence and a great garden with beautiful flowers, maybe some weeds in there, but a tornado comes through town. I am that tornado, and I'm whirling around, and I've made a mess of my backyard. So what do I got to do? Well, the first step is I got to go outside and take a peek at what's going to happen. I need to take an inventory of what the work needs to be done. I got to say, oh, wow, that rake is over there. My swing set is on its side. The trampoline is like 3 blocks down. The flowers are all uprooted. So I have to take a little bit of an assessment of what needs to be cleaned up before I can start doing the work. So that's what we're going to do. Our liquor was but a symptom. We had to get down to the causes and conditions. So the liquor is not the problem. The liquor is the symptom of a problem. Therefore, we started upon a personal inventory. This was step 4. A business which takes no regular inventory usually goes broke. Taking a commercial inventory is a fact-finding and fact-facing process. It is an effort to discover the truth about the stock in trade. One object is to disclose damaged or unsaleable goods, to get rid of them promptly and without regret. If the owner of the business is to be successful, he cannot fool himself about the values. And to demonstrate this, I have a tool. Hang on a second. So, we've got strawberries. So these strawberries I got from Costco. They were $8.99. Fabulous, beautiful, juicy, organic strawberries. Now, if I open up this package and I look at them, I go, oh, this strawberry is kind of squishy, and it's kind of like dehydrated, and it's got a little hole there. Right there, see that little hole? That strawberry is not so good. Ooh, what else do we got? This strawberry, this one's got a little dent. It's a little bit mushy. It's kind of withered and old. It's not a nice juicy strawberry. This one's got a white top. That's not a very good strawberry. I could go through each strawberry and see. But what am I going to do? Am I going to throw out this whole box of strawberries because of these 3 yucky strawberries? No. I'm going to go, this one, I can't save it. It's got to go. This one, I can cut the top off. I can still use the bottom. This one here, I can cut it on an angle and throw it in a freezer bag, and I can use this one for a smoothie. So I've just done an inventory of my strawberries. I'm not going to throw out the whole container because some of them are bad, but I'm going to take a look at each one, and I'm going to determine if it's going to be useful, if it can maybe be repurposed, or if I have to absolutely throw it away. And that's the same thing we're going to do here with our inventory. Not everything in our inventory is going to be bad, but there's some things that we have to get rid of. There's some things that we can repurpose, But the whole point of it is that we find these big, juicy, beautiful strawberries. And what's on the outside? Some seeds. And when we get rid of all those mushy, yucky, moldy strawberries, and we uncover these big, beautiful strawberries, these are the inviting ones that we're going to give to the world. And we're going to share that seed and spread that love. The same as this one I can cut in half and make a beautiful smoothie with. I'm giving my fruit out to the world, and when you plant a seed, it grows. But we got to get rid of the mushy ones. So that's what we're going to do in step 4. That is my strawberry analogy. So what we do is we take stock honestly. First, we searched out the flaws in our makeup which caused our failure. Being convinced that self, manifested in various ways, was what had defeated us, we considered its common manifestations. Resentment is the number one offender. It destroys more alcoholics than anything else. From it stems all forms of spiritual disease. For we have been not only mentally and physically ill, we have been spiritually sick. When the spiritual malady is overcome, we straighten out mentally and physically. Some people like to say that the spiritual malady is the third symptom of alcoholism. It is not. The only symptoms of alcoholism are the mental and the physical. Everyone on earth can suffer from a spiritual malady. For example, this is where we get Becky. I love Becky. Most of the girls that have been here before like Becky. We named my car Becky after this big book study. So Becky's my neighbor, hypothetically. Becky and I both have a husband, hypothetically. Our husbands both go out and cheat on us. And we find out. So on Friday night, Becky and I have a resentment. And we're burned up. We're angry. So Becky and I go to the bar. We're going to drink in anger because that's what's going to make us forget about our problems and make us feel better. So what happens? We both start drinking. Becky has 3 vodka cranberries and maybe does 3 shots of tequila. She has some fun, gets the steam off. At the end of the night, Becky goes home. Becky might wake up in the morning on Saturday with a mild hangover, but she's at home. She wakes up. She calls her lawyer. She calls her best friend. She calls her therapist. She starts to make a plan. She moves on with her life. By Monday night, she's getting on with her life. But I, on the other hand, have 3 vodka cranberries. Then I get started on the tequila shots. Then I might call up my dry goods provider. Then it's a Carrie Underwood song and I'm slashing his tires, keying his car, burning his clothes on the front yard, sleeping with whomever I can find because I need to fill that void and have validation. And by Monday morning, I hope I'm in my bed. I'm so burned up with resentment and it's festering in every area of my life, and all I can do is drink more and more and more because I'm angry. What's the difference? Becky and I both had a resentment. But when Becky drank because of her resentment, she didn't set off the allergy. She didn't trigger her malady of the mind. She just let off some steam and went home. The difference is Becky's not an alcoholic and I am. So when I went to let off that steam, I triggered my alcoholism, which took over. Becky just let off some steam like a normal person. So this is the difference between a spiritual malady being a symptom of alcoholism and just a spiritual malady being a result of having a resentment in life. Other people get over those things. We harbor them. We water them. We replant them in other areas. And it festers and grows in our life. So in order to recover from our alcoholism, we have to master resentments. And so this is what this process is all about. And it's going to teach us some stuff. So I'm going to make some homework. This is our first part of step 1. And I got to open up my thingy. I wasn't prepared. Look at me. So, we are going to start our step 4 with columns. And here it is. Whoops, I went too far. Ah! See, I look like I know technology. I just opened 3 wrong files. Okay, there we go. So now I gotta screen share it and make it bigger so everyone can see it. Okay. And I can email this to anyone who hasn't had it emailed to them before. So the first sheet is our guide. So this is the guide for how we write it. We have 5 columns. The first column is all we're thinking about now. So we are going to write people, places, and things to whom we are angry. So if you're mad at your mom, if you're mad at your ex-boyfriend, if you're mad at your husband, if you're mad at your friend, if you're mad at those girls in high school, if you're mad at that McDonald's, if you're mad at any people, places, or things. So people is easy. People is going to be the bulk of it. Places, that grocery store with shitty parking, it makes me angry. Things, gas prices. Things, paper straws. Things, taxes. Gas, I said gas prices. So anything or principle, if there's a law you don't like or a rule you don't like, COVID, vaccines, whatever you want, those are things. So people, places, and things that we're angry with. My example is, of course, the ex-boyfriend, the McDonald's, and gas prices. And that's all we want to do before Wednesday. People, places, and things. And I'm going to tell you something, there's no rule about it. The only rule that there is if you are wondering if you should write it down, you should write it down. So if that's your question, well, should I write it down? The answer is yes. All these files are opening now. Sorry, ladies. That's the only rule. So when I did this the first time, some lady was like, you got to write down 10 for every year of birth. I'm 40. That was 400 things. There's no rule. The top 5 in each category are going to give you the best snapshot of your life, of you, but there's no rule. The only rule is if you're wondering if you should write it down, you should write it down. So questions, comments, concerns, I will pop my email in here. Email me to request it because I am not organized enough. So email me and I'll send it to you. That's the easiest way to do it. And it will have all of the instructions for each step. But don't go ahead. Just do the column that we're on. Questions? Comments? Concerns? Experiences from those? Go ahead, Susan.
Hi, I'm Susan. I'm an alcoholic. Can you post that page again with the columns?
Yep.
I lost it.
Yep.
Thank you.
It just takes me a minute. So there we go. So there's 5 columns, and I can send you this in an email.
Perfect. All right. That would be great.
Yeah, so email me at the email I put in the chat, and then I will send you this package.
Thanks, Kimberly.
You're welcome. So yeah, we are only going to do column 1 for homework. And it helps if you turn your paper this way, not this way. You know what I mean?
Okay.
What works really good, if I can find one, and I don't have one, is if you have one of those like notebooks where you can open it, because I'm a crazy person that likes lines, and you can, you know what I mean. I don't have one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Next, Handela.
Good morning, ladies. Stella, alcoholic. So one of the questions that popped up last time was, well, are we doing it by the book? And absolutely, we are doing it by the book. So it's not Kimberly's own interpretation of her step 4. This is actually coming from the big book. So, and it's just a really, it's so freeing, and it's not complicated, and it's not intimidating. It's just so simple to be able to do it. Because when you look at that big book, or when I did it first and read that step 4, I'm like, what is this? And I was really intimidated by doing it. And the first time I did it this way, it was so easy and so simple and just freeing and being able to do it. So don't feel intimidated, ladies. Just work on that column 1. Thanks, Kim.
That's right. The less thinking you do, the better, and the less trying to figure it out, the better. There's no chapter called Figure It Out. There's only how it works. And like how it works is we're just going to do it one by one and like try not to think, because we're going to think it for you. And it makes sense. And then you'll go, whoa. That's what happens every time. Marianne.
Hi, friends. I am an alcoholic from Toronto. My name's Marianne. Grateful to be here. Grateful to be sober today. So I got a question. How thorough and honest do you go back? Like you mentioned like 10 people for each year of your life. Like, am I going to go back to grade 2 when I was pissed off at my little girlfriend who, pulled my hair?
Nope. Just when you sit down, be like, who am I angry with? And if it's like, you don't need to overthink this. It's like, if I'm like, who am I angry with? Right now, I got one person. And those who have been here before know who it is, right? And it's like, that's the only person I'm angry with. That's the only one I have. The thing is, we have with this process that if something comes up, you can deal with it at any time. So if you don't deal with it today and it comes up later, so I'll give you an example. I had a girl and we did this and we sat there and we did it together. Like this doesn't need to take months. It's meant to be done quickly, right? Write down who you're angry with. Like if I said right now, who are you angry with? Bet you could give me 5 names. Those are what you write down. You shouldn't be going, well, let me think. I really need to find more. No. If you sit down with a pen and paper and you go, who am I angry with? Who do I have a resentment? Whatever comes to you, write it down. And the reason that we have from now till Wednesday is you've got 48 hours to have things pop up, right? So you'll be driving and you'll be like, oh, I really hate that. Write it down, right? Put it in a note in your phone. Text it to yourself, right? Or if you go to the store and you're in the store, and in the store, the deli counter girl that doesn't pay attention to you because she's busy making the salad and you stand there waiting for your ham, that drives me nuts, right? Write it down when you get home or whatever, right? You can put a note in your phone. So we don't have to think if some girl pulled your hair in the 2nd grade and it's not bothering you today, I'm not going to write it down. Unless you stay up at night cursing that girl, damn that Julie from grade 2, she pulled my hair and ruined my life, right? I had a kid when I was in like the 4th or 5th grade and he threw gum on the bus and the gum landed in my hair and I had to have that part of my hair cut out, right? Does that burn me up today? No. Do I lose sleep from it? No. Was I kind of pissed in the 5th grade about it? Yeah. Am I pissed about it now? No. The girls, though, in high school that mooed and barked at me when I stood up to give my student council speech, that I still held. That still affected me because I had an insecurity about public speaking. I had a fear of not being good enough because of those girls. One of them is the girl that organized the trip of Greece. Guess what? Am I over it? Yeah, I am. Amazing what recovery can do, right? So that I wrote down because it bugged me. But the kid in elementary school, nah. you know, if you've done steps before and you've already resolved it, right? Like my number one that used to come up was my ex-husband, but that's completely gone. I no longer feel anything for him. I no longer feel upset about the years of abuse. It's gone. That's been relieved in a previous set. So I'm no longer angry at that. I'm not going to write it down because it's already been dealt with. But if it's current, like if he was still alive and I still couldn't stand him, then I would need to write that down. But if it's been resolved, if sometimes parents come up, so you could have a resentment against your mom from when you were a teenager, right? And you might have resolved that, but now as an adult, she's a ding dong. Well, you got to write her down again because it's a new situation, right? Or if it's your spouse and it's like, well, I got over it and then he did this new thing. Yeah, guess what? You got to write him down again. So it's like, who are you currently angry with? Like right now, what's affecting you today? If it's not affecting you anymore, we're good. Priv, did you want to go or did I answer your question? I answered your question. All right, Brooke. Hello.
Hi, Brooke, alcoholic. How do you differentiate between resentments and things that are like reoccurring? So, like, my wife and daughter do things every day that are just kind of family stuff and piss me off, you know, because they're human. And how do you differentiate between?
If it pisses you off, you write it down. It doesn't say write down who you have a resentment to. It says write down who you're angry with. So if it's something that bugs you, you got to write it down.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Deanna reminded me to talk about the before 18 and after 18. So if you were sexually abused, if you were molested, or if you had any trauma prior to 18, we need you to write it down twice. The reason being is sexual abuse before you're 18, you have no fault and blame. Sexual abuse after 18, you carry fault and blame. The fault and blame being you didn't resolve it. You didn't seek therapy. You didn't deal with it, right? So if you had anything childhood, do before 18, do after 18. Same with if you have resentments to your parents or your siblings. It's going to be mom before 18, mom after 18. Because before 18, you don't really have much choice. But after 18, we got some options here, right? And we're going to talk about toxic people as we go through this process. No one has the right to treat you like shit, no matter who they are in your life. So if you have a mom, a dad, a brother, a sister, an aunt, an uncle that causes you resentment, you are allowed to set boundaries and cut them out of your life. It doesn't matter that they're blood. We get options when we're over 18. It's an amazing thing. All right, Irene.
Yeah, hi. Just a quick question. So let's say there was a lot of promiscuity and you were sexually abused as a child. So as you grew up, you got very promiscuous because of that abuse. I have no anger at a person specifically, you know, because that was kind of dealt with in my, as an adult. But I'm kind of probably angry at me, and maybe I should look at it as a thing. I'm angry at the actual thing that happened as a child.
Yep.
I'm angry that so would I put on that column where it's person, place, thing, the thing I'm angry at being sexually abused as a child.
Yes.
And that's kind of what you're saying?
Yep, you can totally use it as a situation. And the question comes up as well that your question leads into is I'm resentful to God. Perfect, write it down. If you say, well, what about me? Some people say you have to go on the list. This list is you. The whole thing is you. But if you need to put you down because you have anger at yourself for things you do, put yourself down. Like Wendy just said, I've never put myself on my list because this is my inventory. The whole thing is me. But if it helps you to do it, you can do it, but you might get stuck at some of the columns, and that's okay. That's why we're here to help walk you through it. But yes, in response to your question, if promiscuity is a thing, you can put it as a thing. Just like I was an exotic dancer, right? So I can put my time as an exotic dancer there. Diane, I know you're in the room. So you can put as a thing the fear of failure, or the being a not successful. Why that you have a resentment to that. You can put that as a thing as well. So if you're not mad at a person, try to do it as a thing. Don't write big long paragraphs. We don't want this to be a victim impact statement. If you live in a household or a situation where your privacy might be affected, you can give them nicknames. So if you live with your mother and your mother is the problem and you don't want her finding your book and reading, call her a pickle. I don't care. As long as you know what the code word means, right? So say Della. Say I had a huge resentment against Della and I didn't want her to know and read it on my thing. I could call Della purple. She wouldn't know that she's purple if she read it. She would just be like, that's weird. But I would know it was purple. It's just like if you have a husband and you don't want him finding your notebook, you can call your husband something. Give him a nickname. Try to make it so he can't figure it out, right? The dickhead might be a giveaway, but you could call him something, right? Like eggplant. Still might be a giveaway, but, just bringing some humor into it. So you can code name them if you're in a living situation where you don't want that person to see that information. Hopefully people will respect your notebook and not look at your work. But it happens. There has been stories of girls that are in treatment centers and their roommate reads their step 4. So you can assign your person, place, or thing a code name, just as long as you remember what it is. Marianne?
Yeah, and certainly don't let fear of somebody reading it stop you from doing it. That happened to me.
Yeah.
So do whatever you need to do.
Yeah. Am I missing anything from all the people that have been here before? Have I got everything? The rule of thumb is if you wonder if you should put it down, you should put it down. And don't be scared to do it. Do it by Wednesday, Diane. Write some people, places, and things down. And if you're halfway through this work from a previous attempt, scratch it. You got to start over. This is a fresh set. So if you're like, well, I already did a list from like 2 years ago that I didn't finish, throw it away. We want fresh. We want now. We want new. This is a great new experience. Priv?
I do want to offer some hope to some people. I mean, I'm definitely going to be doing this with things that have cropped up again or in different situations, but I've done 4th and 5th before and completed 4th and 5th steps before. And the ones that have been those deep-rooted things, they're dealt with and have gone away. So I'm at peace with a lot of those things. So I do want to just offer that hope. And there are things that have resurfaced that I'm going to be putting down or have come back, but they do go away. So you do get freedom from these. It's pretty awesome. So I do want to stick my little ray of sunshine in there.
Yeah, absolutely. So and if there's anything you forget, it can be dealt with at any time. So don't feel like, oh my God, I gotta be 100% thorough. This is to learn the process. This is something we get to do for the rest of our lives. So I do a mini 4 or 5 anytime I have a life event. So if I'm dating someone and it doesn't go the right way, I do a step 4 about it. Or if you remember something, so I had a girl and we did her step 4, 5, and then we went to a meeting and someone shared about an abortion. She goes, oh my God, I've had abortions and I forgot to write that down. I'm like, that's okay. We can do a mini 4, 5. Step 10 includes this stuff. So if you're going through your day and you remember something or something comes up, there's daily tools we have to deal with it. I have a step 10 buddy. We'll talk about that when we get there. And so if something comes up, I can message her. She's like, come on over. We'll do a mini. And I'll go over to her house. We'll have a coffee. We'll do a mini 4 right then and there and deal with it, done and done. So don't feel like there's pressure to get everything now. What we're doing here is we're learning how to do it so that we can keep doing it so that we don't have to have resentments anymore. So that's your homework. People, places, and things. I see I've got 5 emails already for people needing the worksheets. I will send them to you right now. Those who are asking about the YouTube, I've got the 4 ready to go. I'm going to upload them because it takes an hour and a half for my computer to do it. So I'm going to load them up before I go paddleboarding. So when I get home, they should be up. We'll let the internet go because the kids are at school. So my computer will have all the juice. Anything I'm missing? Right? So now that I've watched the news all morning and I don't have to quarantine when I get back from Greece because I'm double vaxxed as of tomorrow. So happy. Okay, so that's your homework for tonight. Yippee skippy. No questions? If you need the sheets, email me. My email was in the chat. And if you have any questions, we have the Facebook group if you need support. No one's allowed to quit in step 4. That's a rule. You got to get through it. Just write a bunch of people, places, and things down. Get her done. Don't be scared. It's freaking amazing. You're going to be like, what the? Wow, this is so cool. All the girls that have been here before nodding their heads, they're like, this is like the, honestly, when I was shown it this way and I've perfected teaching it this way, it's life-changing. Step 4 is like where you're going to be like, wow, this is so awesome. It's like connect the dots to freedom. So people, places, and things, we'll see you Wednesday. I expect 37 people here. If not more, bring a friend. All right, so let's close with the serenity prayer. I'm here for a second before I'm going to the beach. Who is going to keep us sober and protect us while we're doing our step 4 till Wednesday? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference.
Amen.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. You give me hope, and all of you, and I'm so.
You got this, Diane. You got this. This summer boot camp is your ticket to freedom.
What I was actually thanks, you guys. Today, now I know. I'm like kind of like sort of what we call putzing. You know what that means? Putzing means like just walking around the house, meaning nothing in particular. Putzing. So yeah, I was putzing. So now I've got something to do.
I've been talking a lot about this. Gutsy, yeah. So, Diane, I've been talking a lot on my social media about how to increase self-confidence. And the number one way to increase self-confidence is to make yourself a goal each day and to keep it. So, like, if the thing is waking up by 9 o'clock and making my bed, try that for a week. And then you feel like you've accomplished something and you've done it. And then you add in something new. So, like, I have to make my bed every day because it's the first success of my day.
Well said.
So, there's your challenge.
I made myself power here.
Yeah.
That was the same thing. Get your lazy butt up, Diane. Get up at 7:30 and go substitute teach. And I did.
Good.
Of course, now school's over. But I felt like I accomplished something. I didn't have to sleep till 11. I didn't have to go to bed at 3. And I did it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe you can start with stop calling yourself lazy.
Yes.
Okay.
Start with that and be your first thing. I don't get to label myself anything negative today.
No
like
negatives.
I do that without even thinking about it. I do a lot of self-deprecating.
It's a default mode. I totally get it.
Yeah, it is a default. And it's like, I'm going to put myself down before you do.
Yeah.
You can't fire me, I quit. That kind of thing.
I want to say something really, really silly about making the bed.
Yes.
I'm definitely in that vein, and you know who also loves to see me making my bed is my dog. She sits by the side of my bed, just cracks me up.
Yeah.
Sweet Caroline loves to watch mommy make the bed. It's like
that is so cute.
It is so cute.
Well, and if you look at
a good start.
if you look at all of the self-help motivational people, they say the same thing. Make your bed. Small goals each day.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It is so true.
So, Marianne, you weren't here earlier. Summer made me a Father's Day gift.
Oh my God. Interesting.
Yes.
That's cute.
At
Thank
school?
you. Ladies.
Yeah.
Art. I love art.
Oh yeah.